Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel, Shelly's Millions. In today's live video, I want to talk about underemployment, living paycheck to paycheck, and of course, whatever you guys want to talk about, just let me know in the comments, or we can certainly change topics. I know one of the topics that a lot of you are wanting to know about is Medicaid in terms of Trump's big, beautiful bill. So let me know if you guys want me to dive in a little bit more to that or look at anything specific. I know that you guys are interested. Good morning. Good morning. Is it Martial or is it just Marshall? Let me know. So, good morning to you. I had a little trouble getting started this morning. I know you guys always like to kind of see where my 401k is at. So I'm going to open that up. I haven't looked at it super closely this week. Also, in terms of protecting your wealth and your assets and your money, just a reminder to lock your doors. Oh, okay. My 401k is doing pretty good right now. It's still not where it was. So I'm at $387,672. And I would like to say that I am aware that I'm very fortunate that my balance is that high. I've worked very hard. I've saved um, at my movie theater manager job where I've more or less worked for 30 years. I have saved since I was 21 in my 401k. And it has grown to that amount, even though, like, probably when I was first working, when I was first managing, I wasn't making a ton of money. So I'm really proud of that. However, last year, it's tricky because this time, not this time last year, but at some point last year, I want to say back in December, my 401k balance reached over 400,000. And so it just seems like it's taking forever to get back above that amount, even though, like, I'm contributing more. So, and I know that that's normal. That's why they say not to look at your 401k balance often, because it can be discouraging to see that's almost a loss of $20,000 and it just hasn't bounced back. But I have seen it go as low as um oh, like $323,000 recently. So so I don't know. Oh, you know what? I was gonna see a couple things. Um I'm trying to find when my balance was that high, so I can give you guys an exact date. And then also let me know if you guys want me to talk about birthday freebies. Just let me know in the chat what you guys want to talk about. So it's my mom's birthday last weekend, or this past Wednesday. She had a really nice birthday. Nothing crazy. I worked in the morning. I came home. I bought dinner for her and my best friend, because their birthdays are the same day. Hi, Sean. Thank you for letting me know. Um, I wanna really try and keep the channel mostly focused on finance. I know that I veer off topic a lot, like I'm talking about birthdays, but it's because I wanna talk about birthday freebies and saving money. My mom is not like a big makeup person. She's not like a big Sephora person. But you always, if you or the ladies that you love, do like Sephora, they give out a birthday gift. Ulta gives out a birthday gift. Let me know if you guys want me to tell you about the other the other one. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to find. I texted the acquaintance of mine, the one that we did a video on his budget where I was like, best budget I've ever seen. I texted him a picture when my 401k was over 400,000. Okay, November 6th, 2024, it was over 398,000. I feel like I was definitely over 400,000. When was that? I don't know. Dang it. Well, anyway, in November it was almost over 400,000. So it's frustrating, probably since November. That means I would have had 2 checks in December, 2 checks in January, 2 in February, 2 in March, 2 in April, 2 in May. So in 6 months, I've probably at least contributed at least another $3,000 to my 401k. So you would like to see that balance go up, but it's not happening right now. And I may need to actually, even though the advice is that you should not look at your 401k frequently, and you shouldn't like change the allocations frequently, just set it and forget it. It's kind of like the mind frame when it comes to 401k. And certainly that is mostly what I've done. But it might be time to look at it and just see if I have something in there that does not make sense in today's economy, something that's lost like the last 5 years. And there's lots of different, I wish I knew more about investing when I first set up my 401k. I will readily admit that. So I've always understood like what they give you a prospectus, right? So it's to try and help you make your decisions. And I've also always known that I was really like, I can tolerate the risk. It doesn't bother I don't love that my 401k lost 20 grand, but, like, on the grand scheme of things, I understand that it should bounce back, and that when it does, it should make me even more, right? So, I get that, but I also wish, I think that, like, I'm ashamed to admit this, but you guys, I think it helps if I share my mistakes so that you guys don't make the same mistakes. At one point, I was like, "Oh, well," and I still do sort of think this, what goes down will eventually come back up. So I kind of think that, like, if you look at a prospectus and something has lost over the last 5 years, but on the 10-year or the inception date, which is, like, when the fund first started, if those are decent, I still think that, like, "Oh, it'll probably go up in the future." But I kind of wish that I didn't think that, right? I wish I would have just stuck to dividend, funds within my 401k that would have returned dividends the whole time, and funds within my 401k that, are index funds. So just to kind of reiterate and just really scratch the surface, this is kind of like where I would lose my employees when I was, like, explaining it to them. You get your 401k, and depending on where your company's 401k is, and probably even if it's, so my company has our 401k with a company called ADP. And within ADP, there are certain funds you can invest in. Let's talk about common misconceptions really quick about 401ks. Is one, if I work, I don't work at AMC theaters, but let's say I did, that if I'm working at AMC theaters and I participate in their 401k, that I am putting my money in AMC stock. That is not true, right? For the ease of this argument, let's say that AMC theaters gives their employees the option to also invest in ADP, which is what my company offers. Then you say, "Yes, I wanna invest," and that starts deducting money. Some people think that that's the final step, but if it's just deducting money, good morning, Richard, then a cr it's not gaining or losing based on the funds that you have chosen, right? So you need to actually allocate, which just means picking. You just need to pick where you want your money to go. So there's in my 401k, there's low risk, medium risk, and high risk. Something low risk is going to be something like bonds, but low risk, low returns. And the common advice isn't Shelly's Millions advice, but because I'm not a financial advisor, the common advice is, the younger you are, the more risk tolerant you can afford to be, because if there are things that go wrong in the stock market, you have time to recover. So I still don't have money in bonds. I'm going to be 48 next month. In less than a month, guys, is my birthday. So my mom's birthday just passed, and it's going to be my birthday next. And I do kind of want to look at the birthday freebies, because I wanna get them for my birthday. My mom's not interested in Sephora. I am. I do wanna get the freebies. And if I can get it for free, I want to, whether I want it or not. I want it if it's free. Okay. So, um, the 401k, you have to first decide you're gonna invest, then actually pick where you want your money to go to, and you can diversify, right? There should be lots of different things within whatever the company you work for, whatever company they use to supply your 401k. There should be lots of different choices for you to put your money. Um, and it's important to make a choice. Then you're supposed to try and pick one with low fees. Okay. I started paying attention to that during the pandemic, but honestly, before that, I didn't pay a lot of attention to that. So that's something that I also wish I would have paid attention more to. So I wish I would have paid attention more to focusing only on things that returned dividends, only on things that were index funds, so that it covers like more of the whole stock market. But because I had high risk tolerance, I know that I have a lot of my funds in emerging markets. And what's getting hurt right now with all the tariffs and things like that, emerging markets. So I think that might be something that I want to move my money out of right now. And maybe that's where I'm not gaining as much as I should be. Richard says, and I'm curious about this because I basically live paycheck to paycheck, even though like I'm a salary employee who's been with my company for almost 30 years. Richard says, I punched a time clock for 43 years. I've had 13 jobs in that period. None of those jobs offered a 401k. That's crazy. I'm going to also say a lot of it, I wonder if this is possible. I'm not saying it's not, right? But I'm just wondering this. I'm obviously really vocal when it's time for my employees to pick whether they're going to sign up for their 401k or not. And I really have. I've had a lot of employees and I will sit down with them and I'll say, I can't, they want me to pick for them, right? Legally, I can't do that, right? Because I could be held liable if I say, oh, I told my employee to put their money here and then that fund goes down. So I can't put myself in that position. I can't put the company in that position that I would do that. I can explain to my staff different strategies. Like there is a strategy of what's been going down must eventually go back up. There's things like retirement date funds. Those tend to have higher fees, but you pick the date, the year that you're going to retire. So let's say I'm going to retire in 10 years. I would pick a retirement date fund of 2035. And then the 401k, it it's more actively managed by whatever company's doing it, but the target retirement date funds, they automatically change your investments based on what is more traditionally someone's risk tolerance. It's so it's a little bit more using sorry guys if I just dropped out. The whole point of using StreamYard is supposed to be so that your connection doesn't drop out, but it looks like I have a really bad connection today and I don't know. I'm going to have to look into why that is a little bit later. Anyway, I'm so sorry about that. So, okay, back to the 401k. Um, you would normally get an email, and based on like your particular management fund, or it might not even be an email. It could be ADP is also a payroll processing company. Dayforce is a payroll processing company. I think Hot Schedules, all those programs report to like a payroll company that then cuts your check. Sometimes it can be an alert in within your payroll program that it's time to sign up for a 401k or that it's time to either like I don't think I don't think they let you know annually that you're eligible. I think it's like you get a one-time email, or it could be an alert within your payroll program that's like, "Hey, do you wanna do this?" And, like, a lot of people, they get those alerts in their inbox, and they just check, "Oh, yeah, I've read it." And then they think, "Oh, I'll come back to it," and they never do. And I think once you say, "Oh, no, I don't want it," like, I think it's always available to you, but I don't think your company is, like, chasing you down to, like, be like, "Hey, what about now? It's been 6 months. Do you wanna join it now?" And I just wonder if maybe, like, because most companies do offer 401ks. Can we Google that? Sorry, guys. I just, like, my mind is a little bit blown. Now, pensions are way less common. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. If you guys are also blown away that Richard has worked 43 years, 13 jobs, and none of them offered a 401k. The brief time when I left my company to work at a different movie theater chain, that was one of the first questions I asked them was, did they offer the 401k? There are a lot of companies that used to offer it that don't now after the pandemic. Just so much has changed financially. It still is affecting people. Okay, we're going to share the screen. Oh, this is a new layout. Okay, I like it. Okay, hold on one second. We're going to add to the screen. Got a headache. Okay. Okay, hang on. What percentage of companies offer a 401k? Not even 401k match. Well, that's what this did. Okay, hold on. We don't want match. Because there are companies like, so when I jumped ship for a little bit, they were like, can you guys see that? I feel like you're not going to be able to see that. So can we switch to a different format? I'm so sorry. There we go. I made myself little and I made the content bigger. Okay, so I don't know why, but now restaurants really should offer 401ks for the most part, unless it was kind of like under the table. But you said you punched a time clock, so that's not normally under the table. Like even my kids that are just scooping popcorn, they're eligible for the 401k. And see, I think my point about, oh, sometimes it gets lost in like just an email that they send you one time is that a lot of times it's gonna depend on the manager there. Is the manager like, "Hey, guys, if you really wanna be set for your future, you might wanna consider the 401k." Because I definitely was. This is somebody that I'm still in contact with now. I was not pushing, but I was encouraging everybody to sign up for their 401k so much. Richard lives here in California, I think near San Diego. So yeah, in California, I find that even more surprising, especially in the restaurants. With schools, I think they have something called a 403B, if I'm not mistaken. And I do think you kind of have to choose to do it on your own. Okay, so um what was I saying? Oh, that I encouraged my employees so much to try and sign up for the 401k. They were like, "What do you get out of it?" And we're friends, so that's my imitation of them now. Oh, Wisconsin. Okay, why did I think you lived here down in San Diego? Okay, Wisconsin. Sorry about that. So, no, it's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't take it personally. It's the intent behind it. Okay, so this is the let's nope. I like the .gov. We're not going to go to AI because that's wrong. Oh, dang it. Went backwards and I meant to go forwards. Okay. So we're going to use the .gov website, the Bureau of Labor Statistic, BLS.gov, because I like the .gov sites. I think they're more reliable, certainly more reliable than the AI overview. Okay. 67% . of private industry workers had access to employer-provided retirement plans in March of 2020. 52% had access only to defined contribution retirement plans. An additional 12% had access to both defined benefit and defined contribution retirement plans. I'm not sure what either of those terms mean, and I am not sure which kind I have. While 3% had access only to defined benefit retirement plans. Retirement benefits access rates for private industry workers. So, and I think that the school industry is considered a public industry. So, I believe that that would be why you didn't have access there. I think. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys, I believe you guys. Okay. The red dot is all retirement plans. The light blue is defined benefit plans only. The yellow is defined benefit and defined contribution plans. And then the blue is defined contribution plans only. All workers, full or part-time workers, full-time workers, part-time workers, union members, non-union members, goods producing industries, service producing industries, 100 workers or more, and then one. So if it was a smaller company, that would maybe be why. Wage group, the lowest 25%, the second 25%, third 25%, and then the highest percent. Okay, so it's just kind of interesting to look at that. Okay, I was reading an article this morning, just to switch gears a little bit. Steve said, "My old job before I retired, they auto-enrolled you, but you can shut it off. They turn it on every year." So some people, they don't like the auto-enrollment. That's something that I think the whole state of California was talking about. And I think newer companies do that because so many people. I wonder though if it chooses where your funds go or if it just sits there in cash for a lot of people. Because so the employee who I was like encouraging to sign up and they were like, "Well, what do you get out of it?" And I was like, "Nothing. I just want to see you make the best choices for your money that you can." Um he didn't end up signing up. Another girl, she would ask me about it, like, every year, and we would have really long, like, I would spend, like, an hour one-on-one with her, like, explaining it to her, going over our plan and all of this, and she's the one I really think wanted me to pick for her, but I just couldn't do that. So we would sit, and every year she would say, "Okay, I'm gonna take it home and think about it," and I would say, "Okay," and she never signed up. I feel like she really wanted to, but she was so nervous to pick where the money was going. And I'm also gonna say this again before we switch gears, if you guys wanna switch gears. Miss Pretty Lady looking about stimulus. I can look that up in a second. Oh, defined benefit is you get a set amount of money. Defined contribution retirement plan is a 401k. Thank you, Cindy, for explaining the difference on that. Defined benefit is set amount of money. About the only organization that offers that is government, but it is changing. That's oh, okay, I gotcha. But you still would have to contribute yourself, or is that but isn't the government public? That's where I'm also a little confused. Okay, so I really feel like that girl wanted me to choose her options for her, but she was so overwhelmed because there is a lot of choice, and you do unless you choose the retirement date fund, which has a higher fee, then you do have to pick where your money's gonna go. Steve said they matched 3%, so really they want to give employees the match money. Yeah, my company matches 25% of the first 6%. So what is that? They actually only match 1.5%, but still that's not nothing. Guys, I want to just shift gears a little bit and talk about underemployment. But before I talk about underemployment, because I read an article this morning about that, and then I know that that's also affecting a lot of my friends right now. And not necessarily to me, but it would, I think, if I ever were to lose my current job. So we'll talk about that in a second. But the last thing I want to say about 401ks is that even though mine previously was above 400,000 and now it's below, and back in the day, I don't think when I was 21, I don't think I had the best investment strategy, right? I think I probably would have done things differently if I would have known what I know now. Again, sticking to just funds that focused on index funds and funds that focused on dividends. I don't think I would have messed a lot with the international markets. I don't think it's just done very well over the last like 20, 30 years. And I think maybe I should have moved my money a little bit more. Like maybe I set it and forget it a little bit more than I should have. But I'm going to say that still I would not have had I would not have been able to grow my money that much if I would have just received it. So picking something, even if it's not the best something, is still going to be better than not doing anything at all. So basically, so my 401k has about 384,000 in it right now, and that would be as if I had saved $12,800 every single year. And even today, I am not saving $12,800 of my own money. And back when I first started, God, that would have been half of my first before tax salary, literally. So, it really, and now I should. This is what's frustrating because I feel like I should have been at this level for a while. Because I have a video from back in the pandemic where it was at like 346. So I do feel like over the last 5 years, with continuous contributions and a continuous company match, and a lot of people were like, wow, the stock market's been so great. And I literally thought connection is unstable. Try plugging into your router and moving closer to it. I benefit when I started. Now you can opt out. You also have a 458, like a 401k. You can't live on the pension without savings and Social Security. Yeah, and that's even though I feel like I've been good with savings. Technically, I have 1 million in net worth. I'm not going to be able to live off of. Well, let's see, 358, 384,000. Women in my family, I know this is grim, but women in my family tend to die about 81. So if I retire at, say I retire at 62, nope, 81 minus 62, that's 19 years of retirement in theory. So 19, so I'm going to die at 81, I'm thinking, just because most of the women in my family do. And I'm going to retire when I'm 62. So that's 19 years. 19. So we got to take 384,000 divided by 19 equals $20,000 to $20,210 a year. That's if it doesn't make any money. I don't think I do need more than 1 million. So I clearly $20,000 depending on inflation too, right? Um Also, I'm going to be 48. So 62 minus 48 in theory, I have 14 more working years. I don't wanna work that long. I don't. I'm not gonna lie, especially my job's getting hard, guys. It's hard. I have a surgery consultation on Wednesday, just for I don't know if I've mentioned I have something called trigger finger. Anyway, whatever. I have a surgery consultation. It's getting harder to be on my feet. It's not as easy. Movie theaters are kind of like retail. It is not as easy anymore, so I don't necessarily want to be I hope I'm active and healthy and can do movie theaters for the next 14 years, and I hope that the movie theater industry survives for the next 14 years, but both of those are a little bit questionable, both my ability to continue to do it for that long and, their viability for that long. So, um, it would be very unlikely that my 401k would stay exactly where it is. My house should be paid off by the time I retire. But even then, so it was about 20,000 a year, right? 20,000 divided by 12. That would equal 1,666.66667. It's always weird when that number comes up. But anyway, um so if oh no, it was yeah, divided that would be $1,666 a month to live off of in the future. So that's not going to be a lot of money, but I should be eligible for Social Security as well. So I kind of think, and I'm hoping to keep my living expenses really low. That's my plan. Although houses need repairs. I just spent we had like an intruder, guys. Do you want me to tell that story? I think I'm going to tell that story. So I always lock my front door, not always my back door for convenience. Sometimes it's just easier to come in with the groceries or like whatever. Also, I have my best friend who does work for home back like in that side room. So they're back there a lot, even if I'm not. And my mom's home all the time. So this Friday, I went to the dentist. I was getting a crown. Friday is also trash day in my neighborhood. So, and I live on a very narrow street. So we're moving the trash. I'm moving the trash cans, and I kind of see somebody watching me, but I'm always like a curious person. So I'm always watching other people too. So I didn't think anything of it. So we're moving the trash cans, and then I get in my car and I pull out to go to the dentist. And before I was even at the dentist, my dentist is only like 8 minutes away. So before I'm even at the dentist, my mom texts me. She's like, some man just came in the house and he ran out when he saw me. And I was like, call 911. And she's like, no, he's gone. So that was a little bit of a fright. And now I spent like $150 on getting new locks that lock my door was sticking. Look, my house is old and I got a lot of problems, but lock your doors and make sure that your doors lock. But anyway, that was kind of scary. Why did I start talking about that? I don't that there's always going to be repairs or there's always going to be something even when your house is paid off. Okay, Richard says your cousin rents a storage unit in California and lives in it in secret. He lives in Topanga by himself. Yeah, I've heard about a lot of people actually doing that. He's doing what he has to do to keep a roof over his head, and it's really sad that that's where we are. I was just having a conversation. This leads perfectly into the underemployment topic. Somebody that I see on a regular basis, not like not like dating, but like I don't wanna say like why I see them regularly. I don't wanna like disclose that much about them in case they don't want me to share. But it's somebody who I interact with regularly. Like I see them several times a week. Um, Van life. Yeah, I know a lot of people that do that also. So this person was like, Shelly, I'm a manager. I'm having trouble paying my bills. Every time I get paid, it's immediately gone. So, um, they're like, do you know any remote jobs that I can do kind of to earn like a side hustle? And I was like, I don't know about any remote jobs, Cindy says they have a cousin who lives in the desert east of LA in a trailer. I think it's like a travel trailer. So one, my grandma used to have a travel trailer. She didn't live in it, but my grandma used to live in a regular trailer, like a mobile home. It wasn't really mobile though. Like it was a stationary mobile home. And the trailer park was really nice that she lived in. Like it had a nice pool and everything. That's the trailer my mom had inherited. And now my mom lives with me. So she lived in a trailer up until she lived with me. And I like lived in a trailer when I was little. Like I used to live in my grandma's trailer also like when I was like 18 until I was 18. So for a long time, we didn't always live in a trailer, but like for most of my life we did. Before that we lived in section 8 housing. So definitely low income all of my life. Um, so my friend is underemployed. They're having trouble making ends meet. They're a manager, but in California, but they're not being paid. This is actually two of my friends' situations. They're both in management, and they're not like the head manager where they work or anything, but like they're an assistant manager. And neither of them are able to make ends meet. Like there's not enough money left over. And it's like one of them is like, Shelly, I don't feel safe driving on the street anymore. My car needs repairs. And because I was like, maybe you could do Uber Eats, or like maybe you could just do regular Uber where you're taking people around. And they were like, I can't because my car needs repairs right now. So, and my other friend, she didn't work at my movie theater, but she worked at a movie theater chain and her location just closed. So it wasn't like she got fired. It wasn't like she's amazing, by the way. Um, she was a general manager. Her location closed. She was out of work and now she's making like $8 less an hour. I hope she's not watching, but I'm gonna do the math on this. $8 times 40 a week. That's $320 less a week. Now, I know it won't quite be the same with taxes, and let's say times 52. So she's making 52 weeks a year, $16,640 less a year. Let's divide that by 12 months. No, I guess that's right. So she now makes, okay, so we took the 320 per week that she makes less. We multiplied that by 52 weeks, which was the 16,640, and then we divided that by 12 months. So she now makes $1,387 less a month than she used to do. Luckily, she's not single, so her partner is helping to pay all the bills, but, like, tell me that's not gonna make her budget tight. If I suddenly lost 1,380 it's almost $87, $1,387 in income every single month, tell me that you're not gonna struggle paying your bills. And basically, tell me that you're gonna be able to repair your car. This wasn't this girl that was having car repair issues, but tell me that if something happens to her car, that she's gonna be able to find the money to fix it. Her budget was tight beforehand. Her budget was tight when she was making $8 an hour more, and now she's making 3,087. I don't know how she's doing it, like, thankful to her partner that's helping her, but, like, she doesn't wanna rely on help from other people, and I know I would feel the same way. So underemployment is a huge issue, and I have a lot of what are called soft skills, right? Like, I'm great at customer service. I can do invoices and payroll and scheduling and performance managing and onboarding. So can almost everybody else. Like, everybody else can do those things too. Will they care about them? Will they do them as thoroughly as I can? Maybe not. But on a resume, oh, I can do payroll. Nobody cares. Nobody cares that's gonna pay well. They're gonna be like, "Yeah, you're a manager. We assume you can do payroll. Every other manager can also do payroll." So, like, that worries me. So grateful for my job. So grateful for my job, even on days when I don't always love it. Very, very grateful for my job. But I would absolutely be in a pickle if I became underemployed. Cindy asks, I'm going to skip some questions. We'll come back to them. Cindy says, am I doing better with my mom living with me to share the bills, or is it about the same? I think I'm doing better. Also, my mom, if she's watching, pays me way more than she needs to. First of all, when she was like, "Can I move in with you?" I wanted her to pay less money than she paid when she was at the trailer park, but she's not really paying less money. I think she pays me about the same amount, maybe like $15 less. She's paying me $600 a month. I did not ask her for that. I like it. I do like it. I'm not gonna lie, guys. This channel's called Shelly's Millions. Um, so she's paying me $600 a month to live with me. But then she also, like, let's say that I buy um coffee from Amazon, right? And sometimes she'll let me get her birthday coffee, or she'll let me get her like Mother's Day or Father's Day coffee. Like, she'll let me get her presents, but sometimes she'll be like, "Well, what how much did you spend?" And sometimes, like, I'll tell her, sometimes I think we're just having a conversation, and then the next thing I know, she's adding it to her bill. She's like, "Well, I'm gonna pay," let's say the coffee was $10. She's like, "Well, I'm gonna pay you 5." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" I'm like, "No, you don't owe me that." But I think if she is watching now, I think she likes it. She wants to feel like she's contributing. She definitely wants to feel like she's not, like, being a burden, which if you're watching, you're not, and you do not need to pay all this extra stuff. Because here's the thing too, right? Like, maybe I buy $10 a bag ground coffee. If my mom was living on her own, she would have gone to the grocery outlet and she would be buying um, the standard package, like a 12-ounce package or whatever, of ground coffee for like $4.99. She wouldn't be buying coffee that cost $10.99 to start with, you know? Um, so I think my financial situation has improved since she's moved in. So it is helping me. I did lose a little bit of space. I don't mind. Um, Debbie, it looks less cluttered up there. I organized the dolls and things up there. I got Beanie Babies. There's the little green guy. This is not like a weird this is a knee pillow, guys, in case anybody's wondering. Some books. I have this is like an overhead claw thing in case I ever want to, like, film something overhead, and then I've got some toys. Uh-oh, what? What? Is somebody like what? That's crazy. I hope somebody's not, like, saying bad things about my channel that are untrue. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm doing better with my mom living with me. That would be terrible if somebody was just, like, saying that. I banned that person because I felt like they were trying to say that I was saying harmful things, and I would never. Anyway, do I take the money and add it to a rainy day fund or put it towards mortgage? Not sure what I would do. I guess we're gonna call it a rainy day fund. So I'm really, really big. So, Cindy, since you asked, I'm at the point with my mortgage where I my mortgage rate is 2.75%, and high interest rates, that person was like pretending to be YouTube and like saying that I'm saying really bad things, and I'm not. We're talking about finance. We're talking about my mom living with me and whether that's helping me financially. Anyway, so my mortgage interest rate is 2.75. The interest rate on my high yield savings account is 4%. So I actually have enough in my savings account right now to pay off my mortgage, but I gain more interest. It makes better financial my internet has dropped out. Sorry if my internet's dropping out today, guys. So I'm putting it in a savings, so I guess for a rainy day fund, and I'm letting it grow the interest there. It's very tempting. It's really weird to see that I have enough money in my savings to pay off the house and to just choose not to pay off the house. But that's what I'm doing. I'm choosing not to pay off the house on purpose because I would be like losing money by doing that. Since the interest rate on the house is 2.75% and the interest rate in the savings account is 4%, it makes more sense to add that money to the savings account versus paying off the house faster. Mentally, I want the house to be paid off. I'm like, "Oh, let me pay off the house." But financially, the math doesn't math. So I'm not doing that. Every month I'm like, should I pay it off this month? But my house, it says I think it's going to be paid off. It's saying in 19 months. I will make my July mortgage payment on June 18th. That's when I'll get normally I'm supposed to get paid Friday the 20th, but we get paid like 2 days early. So I should have that money in my account June 18th. That's the other thing is that it will take off some interest early just by paying it on June 18th versus paying it on July 1st. So as soon as I get the check that money is going to come out of, I don't put that in savings just for a few days. I do pay off the mortgage, just the standard payment. I used to pay off extra. I used to do the thing where I paid off 13 payments a year instead of just 12. I don't do any of that now that my high yield savings account pays more than my house interest rate. I'll pull up my house numbers so that you guys can see them. I'm going to read Steve's comment really quickly. Steve's comment is, I'm retired at 62 years old. Here in Wisconsin, it's much cheaper. I do many things that save money, but I live on $20K a year. I would move to a cheaper area than work past 62 years of age. Yeah. That's probably a good advice. Okay. So on my mortgage, I owe $15,538. Oops. No. Hold on. I'm trying to bring this up so I can share it with you guys, my mortgage information. So this is the dashboard I'm pulling up. Let me make sure there's nothing confidential. And what in the heck is up with my internet today, guys? Okay. Oh. Shoot. Okay, let's just hold the phone in a way where it doesn't show anything weird. Okay, so no, that's a very awkward angle. Hold on. So oh my goodness, that was a struggle. So I owe $15,538 on the house, and there's 19 more payments. So after June 18th, that'll go down to 18 payments. That's going to be a year and a half more of payments. And honestly, I think like that 18th payment is only going to be like a couple $100. So yeah. Wait, do I have to? Maybe I don't have to hold it if I keep it up like this. Okay. Sorry. There's like my whole address and stuff at the very, very top of that. My escrow balance is in the negative. I'm not going to pay that off early. Oops. If I hit view loan, I want to do the thing where it shows you how much interest I've paid year to date. Let me see if I can do that. Yes. Okay. Hold on. So right there, now see, it says 5% interest year to date and 95% principal. It says 4,153 and 51 cents in principal, and then 206 and 64 cents in interest. But we're about to make the July payment. I've definitely made more than $206.64 in interest by leaving it in my high yield savings account. So that's the current plan, is to just kind of make those. It's so hard though, because I do have more than that in savings now. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Okay. So yeah, so I'm not paying off my house early. So it's really weird. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing, is that mentally I know that there's freedom in paying off the house. But I'd be losing out. Lo Like, you're never losing if you're paying off your house, right? That's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna celebrate with you guys. Maybe we'll do, like, an extra live, or I'll finally do a house tour, or any number of things. Although, PS, guys, like, this is where the molding has come off my door, and I don't know if that's mold in my house. Ugh. Houses are a lot sometimes too. They're not. I love it. I'm very grateful for it. It's not always what it's cracked up to be. Paying off the mortgage is liberating. In your experience, paying off the mortgage, you have more money monthly. It works if you have a rainy day fund. You probably do half and half, pay faster this year. Yeah. You rent, but you would pay that mortgage off ASAP. The thing is, if something were to happen, I would be able to dip into the fund. Okay, so you guys just saw the mortgage total. I'll show it again. $15,538.56. But in my savings account, I think I have 18,000 and some change. So, yeah, there's nothing here. So, yeah, that's what I have in my savings right now. Let's go back, because yeah. Even just so far this month, just in June, interest accrued this month, $15.67. So, and then lifetime interest, but I only started this account back in August. I haven't even had this a whole year. So, lifetime interest, $487.81. So, yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm not paying off the mortgage, because it's earning more in that savings account. And if push comes to shove and I really did need to pay off the house early, I could dip into that interest, or not the interest. I could dip into the savings account and totally pay off the mortgage. Probably what I would do, guys, if I really, and heaven forbid, I need to knock on wood here. Knock on wood that this does not happen. But if I lost my job, if I became underemployed, I would still make the monthly payment. I would take the monthly payment out of the savings account, but I still wouldn't pay it all off. Because also my monthly payment is pretty low, and with my mom helping to pay $600 a month of that, like, it's almost nothing out of my own budget. Also, it's crazy that I've saved $18,000 in less than a year. Everything extra right now I'm putting in savings. Take the interest and put it towards the mortgage. I thought of that, but the interest is just growing more interest. I don't know. You guys are having me second guess it. Dave Ramsey would say to pay off the house, right? No bills at all. But I think, and this is really in the last couple of years. So when I first bought the house, I was making extra payments. I wanted it to be paid off early. There's also things, you know how, like, there's those studies that say, like, into today's dollars, that's worth this much in future dollars. Just forget about for a second the interest that I'm gaining by keeping my money in the savings account. But I'm not going to explain this as well, because it took me a long time to understand it myself. But because my interest rate is 2.75%, but the current rate of inflation is about 3%, 3 to 5%, even just because of inflation, keeping that loan and paying it off at the current rate, it's like I'm saving because of inflation, if that makes sense. It just doesn't make sense to pay it off, kind of. There's no such thing as good debt. Ignore Dave Ramsey and make a balanced choice on what I want to do. That's the thing, is that what I want to do and what I've, in the last 2 years, really come to understand about money is I didn't even understand this during the pandemic. Like, I've always wanted to be a millionaire. I've always wanted to be financially secure. So I've always wanted to have a house and I've always wanted it to be paid off. And so I have a 15-year loan and not a 30-year loan. And I was doing the thing where they just automatically take out money every other check so that it's paid off, so that you're making an extra payment every year. But I don't do that anymore either because I've started to understand the interest rates and the inflation rates and all of that. Like, it just makes more financial sense. It's a better financial situation for me to not pay off the house. So it's an emotional thing to want to pay off the house. I talked a little bit about this. I used to, up until a year ago, I didn't have a good high yield savings account. I was getting like a penny in my Wells Fargo savings account. So I've not always made good financial choices, but I get better every year. The reason why I didn't put the money in the high yield savings account, if you take money from one place and you move it to another, sometimes it feels like you're losing that money. Like, just the taking action, like if you see, and at the time I didn't have in savings what I have now, but if you're taking money from one place and you're putting it away in another, it feels like psychologically like you're losing that money even though you're making a good financial choice with it. So I was just like, "Oh, well, I have my mortgage was with Wells Fargo, and I have my checking account with Wells Fargo, so I'm just gonna have my savings account with Wells Fargo too." And I would get like a penny back a month. And I was like, "Shelly, what are you waiting for? Like, get this high yield interest account." It does, it takes a little effort to, you gotta open the new account, research the account, make sure that it's the right account for you. But now that I've done it, I was like, why didn't I do this sooner on the high yield savings account? I didn't lose my money. I just moved it from one place to another. It's kind of similar with paying off the house, is that mentally, I do want to. Mentally, I want to have a paid off house. I do. But logically, it helps that I can see that daily interest, right? That I can see the daily interest accruing in Robinhood. This is a video that I thought that I would think about making, guys. No, that's okay if you guys see that. I have some money invested too. The 18,000 is just sitting there in savings, it's not invested. I thought about making it so that each month, so I'd be lowering my savings account to be the same amount as my mortgage so that I could show you guys, like, yes, see here, this is how much I paid in interest on the house versus this is how much I gained in interest in the high yield savings account, just so that you guys could see that, like, mathematically it makes sense. And then I would have to, like, transfer money out and reset the amount so that they stayed the same. But, like, I thought that might help. But anyway, yes, mentally, it's gonna feel really, 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 really good to have a paid off house, and it's very tempting to just go ahead and do that now. But logically, so emotionally and mentally, I want to pay off the house, I do. But logically, I know that I'm actually making more money by not paying off the house early. There is some security in having a paid off house. But financially, I make a little bit more by just keeping it in the high yield savings. All right, guys, I'm about to end the video. I'm about to head out for today. let me know if you oh, no, before I head out, the underemployment thing and my friends who are all having trouble making ends meet. Um, I saw this on another, uh, like a TikTok. It's from your rich BFF, right? And your favorite Wall Street girly. She was talking about this app called Reflex, which basically it's for retail workers who just want to pick up a shift. So I normally have Sundays off. After I go live, I don't have anything that I don't work on Sundays usually. So if I wanted to pick up a retail shift, I would just sign up on Reflex. And I think that they do like an interview with you, right? But it's kind of like Uber. Like Uber makes sure that your car is good also. So Reflex is an app to pick up like one shift on your terms. And some of the comments under the girl's video that posted this app, they were like, well, employers are just trying to get out of paying their employees' health insurance, yada, yada, yada. But so now my company doesn't use this app, but to be on the other end of it as a manager, guys, sometimes I'm staffed sometimes just with one employee. So if that one employee gets sick and nobody picks up that shift, guess who's back to their popcorn scooping days? It's me. It's me. And I love scooping popcorn, quite honestly. I'm good at it. I'm good at upselling. I'm good at suggestive selling. I'm good at interacting with the customers. But it might mean my staff schedule, they get their schedule later because I'm out there helping the customers instead of in the office making their staff schedule. So I would love if my company did participate in something like Reflex so that if I had an employee call out sick, I could just use somebody from this company to come in and fill that shift so that I wouldn't get behind on my office work, because that is what happens, right? If somebody calls out sick and they're not in California required to find coverage for their shift if they're sick. Like if you're sick, stay home, take care of yourself, don't worry about your shift. Just call out, let us know. Um, but that might mean that I'm the one covering the front. And if I'm covering the front, I can't do my stuff in the back. So it would be so nice if I could just like call an app and say, hey, I have this shift from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then if somebody likes working at our location, they could come and do it. So anyway, I think I'm going to try this app. I'm like gold for this app too because I can pick up stuff really fast. Um And I could meet new people. I think I'm gonna do this just for funsies, but this is what I showed to my friend who was telling me that he was underemployed, is I was like, "How about this? It's not work from home," which is what he was hoping because his car needs a little repair, but it's also not a side hustle like Uber or Uber Eats where he's gonna be putting, like, lots of miles back on his car, I hope. Uh, Steve said, I had a federal first time homeowner's loan. It was $6,000 at 0%. You never paid it off faster. That's awesome. Cindy says, we have been mortgage free for about 10 years. We don't live in California. We now make home improvements. Yeah, and that's something that I need to do. I've definitely bought a fixer upper, right? My house is old. Okay, so I told the story earlier about how we had an intruder, and my mom was fine, and she said he's a young guy, and my best friend is like, "Shelly, like, if that guy took off running when he saw your mom, it's not like a hardened criminal because a hardened criminal would not be intimidated by your mom," which so that's great. But, like, yes, we did the home repairs, but, like, honestly, like, this door that I'm like, "Is that mold?" Like, what if it is? What if I need to take this house down to the studs and replace, like, all the drywall? Also, the walls aren't drywall, they're plaster. I have a house that's so old that my walls are plaster. Also, one of the door frames no, both of the door frames on the front door and I feel like a robber, if they wanted to get in, they could just come, like they could come blow on the door frame, and it would just be like, "Peesh," and it would the whole door would just pop out of the frame. Not really, but it is cracked around the door, and yesterday when the guy was coming to fix the locks, he was, like, shutting in the door really hard, and, I feel like it pulled the door more off the frame. Oh, interesting. My insurance could cover mold. My Shiesty insurance. I'll check that. What about wood rot? What if they're like, it's sometimes don't you have to report it right away? And I don't think it's actually mold. I don't know. But I do know the whole house needs repaired. And I know like the trim around the doors, it's different on every single door. There's 3 doors that you can see in the living room. You see the door that goes from the living room to the kitchen, you see the door that goes into my mom's room, and you see the bathroom door. I guess you also see the front door. Honestly, on all 4 of them, it's different trim. So, like, I would like to fix the trim on the oh, guys, I should do a house tour because this is definitely still a fixer-upper, and while I'm financially okay, like, I'm not that okay, and when I went to the Home Depot to get locks, I was like, "Well, how much would it just be if I, like, replaced the whole door?" And he was like, "Is your house built before 1975?" Which it is, and he was like, "Well, it would be 600 is the starting fee, plus, like, $150, basically like a hazard fee in case there's, like, lead paint in the house, I guess?" So because my house is so old, it will cost even more to get it fixed. Oh, not today. Not it's so dirty. I need like, here's the thing, Alex, who's not in here today, it is very hard to find homeowners insurance in California. Very, very, very hard. Cindy, we are gonna do a house tour. Alex is always asking me. I've been promising for years, and it seems like every time, like, I almost get the house in order to do a tour, like, something happens. Like, I know that, like, the something that has now happened is my mom moving in. I did upright those toys, though, and I had to, like I'm always rearranging or something. I don't know. Okay, in case Debbie watches and she gets to the end, we gotta look at which movies made the most money this year. So, 1 second. Not this year, this week. The numbers. Box office. Gross. Let's just do that. Okay, I'm gonna take one more sip of coffee if you guys could like the video. Oh, wait, what? Not Memorial Day weekend. Okay, this is perfect. The weekend domestic chart for June 6th. Let's look at the full weekend chart because I want to see at least the top 5 movies. Lilo and Stitch, which I saw and I loved. From the World of John Wick, Ballerina. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, Karate Kids Legends, and the number 5 movie was Final Destination Bloodlines. Then Wes Anderson's new film, The Phoenician Scheme. Well, look at these Phoenician Scheme numbers. It gained 1,015%, and it's per theater averages 3,725. My movie theater is playing that, and I was just curious if we made more or less than the average movie theater. I think we made more. Okay. Steve, let's talk about this handyman really quick. All right. Or am I just did you guys just see my internet drop out, or am I the only one seeing that? Okay, so with a handyman, it's very hard, not impossible, but very hard being a single woman in Los Angeles. I've got my mom, but like it's really hard to find repair people. Um, like trustworthy repair people that do a good job. So I have a maintenance guy that I know from the movie theater. I've known him since I was, like, 18 years old because we've worked from the same company. I think of him like a dad. I just wrote a letter for his kids to, like, get, accepted into the police force. Like, I really think of him as family, but he doesn't live close and he's getting older. Like, his hands shake a little bit, and it's breaking my heart, but, like, we all get older, right? So, when he's not able to help, I'm, like, stumped for who to call. I trust him with, like, my life. Yesterday, we called for the doors and the locks. We called this guy that, like, my mom used to live near in her trailer park, but I do worry he was a little rough with my doors. He also, like, tell me if this is weird. He arrived with no tools because he wanted to see the problem first, but, like, we live 34 miles from where he lives. So he drove 34 miles without any tools to assess the problem first. I thought it was weird. He fixed it. He fixed everything. I don't know. It was a little weird. It's okay. No, I don't know who just fixes the trim on the doors. And then partially, like, on my front door, I wanna have it open. Anyway, it's tricky. Cindy says, "How has LA lost money?" Let's Google that really quick since they are moving production out of state. It dropped. It has to have, right? Like, logically, it has to have. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, 1 second. Let's just we have to see if LA's tax revenue, how about California? Has California's tax revenue declined in 2024? Should we just use, nope, we're going to use the .gov site. I'm so tempted to use like the AI site, but it's not really updated. Big three revenue outlook. Strong growth this year. The California legislature non-partisan fiscal and policy advisor. This might take longer than I thought. What is this light green thing? I, I feel like the lines are the decline, right? Like it's not going up, but let's see. Strong growth this year, muted expectations moving forward. Our updated forecast anticipates revenues from the state's three largest taxes, income, corporation, and sales, will post strong growth in the current fiscal year. Moving into the budget year, however, our revenue forecast is essentially flat, reflecting mounting risk and headwinds. Total collections across the budget window, 2023 to 24 and 2025-26, roughly match the assumptions in the January governor's budget. The timing of those collections, however, is somewhat different, with more revenue attributed to prior and current years and less revenue expected in the budget year. So without reading every single one of these lines are moving down. Flat, 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 flat. Down, 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 down. Personal income peaks here and then drops. Not great. So they're saying personal income tax. So they're saying that they think people are going to make less money. Corporations are going to pay less money. Yeah, we gotta be making less money. Okay, I'm going to close this. All right, and I'm going to head out for the rest of the day. All right, thank you guys so much for watching Shelly's Millions. Have a great rest of your weekend. Guys, if you ever want to change topics or if there's something that you want to talk to me about next week, after I end the stream, go back and leave a little comment in